Prime Minister, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
It's always a pleasure, Mercedes.
It is Christmas time, and it's a tough time for a lot of people at this time of year, and I imagine maybe a bit of a tough time for you. You've had a tough year, politically, personally. How are you doing?
But that's the question we're always asking each other. Right now, times are tough for everyone, and that's why really we see the best of Canadians coming forward at this moment as people continue to roll up their sleeves and lean in for each other, even while everything is challenging. And yeah, I think this is a moment at the holidays when everyone's going to be pulling together and reflecting on hopefully a much better year in 2024.
You know, what she's referring to there, I think, is obviously prices of things going up, but in his own personal life, the fact that he's getting divorced from his family. And it was funny because I showed you that video, that clip from Jordan Peterson being like a year ago on a Lex Friedman podcast, just God. Yeah, I'm sure the one good thing about Trudeau, he seems to be doing really good with his wife. Like, he has a good home life.
Can you steel man the case that the Prime Minister of this country, Trudeau, wants the best for this country and actually might do good things for this country as an intellectual challenge?
Sure. He seems to get along well with his wife. He has some kids. There's no sexual scandals. And he's in a position where that could easily be the case.
Oh my God.
That clip did not age well.
Your polls would indicate that you're not heading for a better year. 7 out of 10 Canadians want you to step down. There was a recent poll saying that Chrystia Freeland and Mark Carney were both more popular choices than you to lead the Liberal Party. Why do you think Canadians are so frustrated with you?
7 out of 10 people. 70% of people are like, no. I mean, that's a lot of people don't like you.
Yeah, so I think election will be coming. Like, I think.
Well, he's gonna wait 2 years.
Yeah, more like. I think that 7 out of 10 will be more like added into 9 out of 10, and then until goes to 10 over 10. People don't like
11
it.
out of 10. 11 out of 10 people don't like you.
Or 15 out of 10 people.
Yeah, even people outside of other countries don't like you. We'll add them all in.
Yeah, so there. That's what I'm thinking.
That's crazy, though. Oh my God. And I'm thinking, like, what really changed? And I guess the last election we had, it was 2021, and I guess COVID, we were kind of still in the COVID stuff, like we were still dealing with it. So maybe a lot of people were like, hey, like, we need to don't rock the boat. He's gonna help us, whatever.
Yeah, they were still hoping a chance for Trudeau way back then, and probably those people voted him way back then is now regretting, like, I'm regretting voting this prime minister.
Well, he only got like somewhere in the 30s, the low 30s, I think, of the vote.
Well,
I think maybe 32%.
Yeah, well, I think it's not all about Trudeau as well. I guess it's about how the rules itself and
Well, look at interest rates
with the
went
government.
sky high in the last year and a half, which affected everyone's mortgage prices and cost of food, gas, blah blah blah, all that stuff, for a multitude of reasons. So I think people are really feeling the pain, and then they
especially those people like living simple only, they really feel a really bad life now.
Yeah. And it was funny because we were reading those posts of people who had come here as immigrants, and they were like, oh, I'm leaving Canada. It's too expensive here. And they were like going back to India or wherever.
Oh, go back to United Kingdom kind of thing. Like,
Yeah, those people. Yeah,
I think, I watched one video or vlog.
Why would you want to move from UK to Canada? They're
I don't know.
Very similar. Like, except UK, like the money is worth a lot more there. I don't get it.
I don't know either. I don't know, maybe it's one of her bucket list dream.
She wanted to experience
Canadian
cold winters.
Yeah, probably. Well, I think in UK there's a cold winter also, right? The snow too.
No. Well, they get snow, but it doesn't get nearly as cold there as here.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think, first of all, it's a really frustrating time full stop. There's so much going on around the world. There's so much impacting us here at home. There's so many challenges people are facing in their daily lives, from groceries to rent, that yeah, there's a lot of frustration. But we have
Look at
been
that.
working
You
incredibly
gotta
hard
post
to
it.
deliver for Canadians in real.
He's really look like Tom Cruise. Although maybe a little. 25% kind of thing.
What?
Tom Cruise. He's kind of look like
It's
Tom
not.
Cruise. Little only. Little. Like,
I don't think so. Okay,
yeah.
I'll put up the picture of Tom Cruise, and the people in the comments can tell me if he looks like Tom Cruise or not.
Just little only. Like, if you look at the side part of Trudeau, you will see also with the side part of.
Little only.
Yeah, maybe 25%
No,
or
he looks
30.
more like Fidel Castro.
Who's that?
Okay,
I haven't seen it.
he was the leader of Cuba,
Oh, really?
dictator.
Oh, okay.
People can comment down below.
All right.
Really concrete ways. And to my mind, this is exactly not the time to be slowing down or to stop fighting for people. We have been focused on delivering for Canadians for 8 years now, and the context we're in right now, where progress has become so fragile because of global and large macro events, is the time to be doubling down and rolling up our sleeves, and that's what I'm here for.
So basically, he took no responsibility for things that have really happened, pushing it on global issues.
Well,
And
that's sorry for interrupting you, but yeah, that's really happening. Like, I think it's all global economic that's happening, because not just Canada. I think every country feel that everyone, or like everything is goes up. Even in Philippines, like
no,
we're
it's true. Everybody is affected.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
affected. So I think some part of it, that's
But
true. I
certain,
agree with that.
but the level of how you're affected is different.
Mhm. Well,
Our
with
housing situation is not related to COVID.
mhm. Well, I think it's at some point it got related with COVID way back then, because we're lacking, or Canada's lacking of workers for housing and everything way back then, and even until now, like they're still looking for workers for making a house and so on. That's why there's
Sure,
an
and
inflation when it comes to the house.
yeah, but housing prices went up because of materials and maybe
Hmm.
lack of workers, whatever. But even before COVID happened, we still had issues with housing.
Hmm.
It's not like a new problem. We've had
Yeah,
it.
but it got worse because the
Sure,
COVID added also.
sure. COVID has added, but then what has he done to rectify any of this?
Yeah, he didn't do any. Well, maybe he does a little only. We could.
I mean, everything's going to take time, of course, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I think
hope.
he's trying to just save his skin right now and like blame everything on other stuff.
Well,
Please, please don't. I know 7 out of 10 of you hate me, but please.
maybe Trudeau wishing to have a magic to do everything, probably.
And I understand wanting to advance that agenda, and that it's hard to let go of being in power once you're in. But historically, Canadian prime ministers don't get elected 4 times in a row, and people are being very clear that they don't like you in these polls.
Listen, people are frustrated right now, but on a personal level, I made a commitment in 2015 to a whole bunch of young people who came out to vote for the very, very first time, that we were going to be doing the right kinds of things to secure the promise of this country in a way that people were worried about. And years later, even with everything we've done on the environment, on inclusion, on gender equality, on growing the economy, on reconciliation, those young people, 8 years later, are having trouble paying their rent, worried about their future in ways that are just as tangible, if not more, because of the global context we're in. And I didn't make a promise that I was going to make things better for them and then walk away after 4 years or even after 8 years. I said I'd be there to fight for them every single day.
Even if
That's
they
what
don't
I'm
want
doing
you
now.
there.
Listen, there'll be an election eventually in which people will get to make that choice. But I am not giving up on them. I'm not giving up on Canada. I'm not giving up on the progressive vision of progress that we've been fighting for every single day over the past years.
Let's
He's holding the throne. He's holding the throne and the crown. He's not giving up.
Well, it does sound like it. Yeah, it does sound like it.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, based on the interview, Trudeau hate with Canadians, like also with the president with America, right? The Biden.
Yeah.
Americans hate Biden, wanted Trump to lead again. They can be friends.
What?
Trudeau and Biden.
Oh my God.
Just kidding.
I was one of those people who voted for him back in 2015 because he was trying to bring in a lot of hope and change type stuff. But yeah, he failed to deliver on most of it, and he's just not a good representative rather for our country.
Mm,
Like, he just seems out of place, kind of weak,
yeah.
just wishy-washy, concerned about all the wrong things, concerned about like focusing on small groups of people rather than Canadians as a whole. There's things that he could do to help Canadians as a whole that lift everybody up, but
Yeah.
he's more tends to focus on specific groups. And I think we should just try to work out our commonalities and things that everybody needs here rather than just a specific group.
Mm-hmm. All right. But the thing also is, well, I don't like Trudeau, but being president or prime minister is really hard job. Like you're thinking a lot of stuff, how to handle your country. Like sometimes you will make a mistake as well, or like
Oh yeah.
yeah, you will make a problem or kind of thing with.
But just come out and say you made mistakes. They never actually say that. Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
when like she's bringing up in this interview, like, hey,
Mm.
this people don't like you. This happened. This happened. What are you doing? He's
Mm.
always like, well, it's other forces. It's this.
Uh,
The truckers are all racist and
well,
Nazis. It's like he doesn't take responsibility for anything.
yeah. Well, I think that's how it is being prime minister or president. Like whenever you like starting like campaigning, you're making promises and so on and so forth. But when you're already elected or being seated on what you wanted, you're forgetting everything those promises that you wanted to like saying before when you're doing campaigning kind of thing.
Yeah, but if that's the case, I just feel like if you made a bunch of promises when you're in your campaign, you should literally almost have them written out and like post them on your wall in your office so every day you see those. Like, okay, what can I cross
Yeah.
off? And there's always other things that come up
Yeah.
that you have to deal with, but you at least should be working on those things that you
Yeah.
brought up.
I think
I mean, he did legalize marijuana, which was one of his campaign promises. That's why he got elected in 2015.
oh
I know that's your favorite. You
no.
love that. When she's walking down the street, she's always like, "What's that smell?" She's like, "Oh, I feel dizzy. I feel sick."
Yeah, I don't like it. I
Then
don't
you go
like.
throw up.
Yeah, I don't like the smell of marijuana. It's my first time smelling marijuana, so I'm like, oh, I feel
Nobody
like
smokes marijuana in Philippines?
it's not allowed in
Yeah, but it
Philippines.
wasn't allowed here. People were still smoking it.
But of course, people are so stubborn kind of thing. They will still do whatever they want, even it's not allowed. But of course, when you're doing marijuana, you will get into jail in Philippines because it's not really allowed. But here in Canada, it's like
Are you sure they get into jail in Philippines? Because every time I saw a police officer, they were like playing cards on a table. Didn't seem like they did a lot.
yeah, they will go into jail. They will like
How do you get caught there? They never.
no, they will like doing surveillance or
Oh, so that's what they were doing when they were playing
yeah.
cards at the police station? They
No,
were
what
surveilling?
police station? No. Oh my God.
That's what I saw, okay?
You
There was like
didn't
three
get it.
cops playing cards at the station, just sitting on the side
Where
of the
did you
road.
saw that?
In Angeles City.
What?
We drove by. There was a police station, and there was like three cops. It was like it said police station. I looked at it. There was like a building, and then there was some kind of overhang spot, and there was like a table, and there was like three cops or something like that playing cards.
But it's just 3 police you see there.
That might be all there is in the city. I don't know.
So there are some other police doing their job. They
Even,
probably have their own break time.
Hey, listen.
No,
Even the
no,
security
no, no,
guards,
whatever. Just play it. Oh my God.
even the security guards at these checkpoints in the edge of the city were never checking anybody. They just wave everybody through. Like, what's the point of having a security guard checkpoint?
Oh, I don't know what they're doing with their job.
Let's talk about housing because it's something that affects everyone. And there's been a lot of struggle in every Canadian city, every Canadian province to try to find affordable housing. One of the issues which your government has recognized is that there's more people than there is housing necessary. There's, I believe, a need for 3.5 million homes by the end of the decade. You've promised 30,000. It's only 1% of the supply. Why so low?
On the contrary, we've actually made commitments that are adding up to about 300,000 new units over the coming decade. These are the kinds of things we need to accelerate, and there's no one way of doing it. What we've come at is not a single silver bullet, but a massive range of initiatives, whether it's the First Home Savings Account that 300,000 people have used to start being able to save up for a down payment, whether it's the Rapid Housing Initiative that has quickly got things up and running across the country, whether it's the Housing Accelerator that is securing deals with cities that are transforming their zoning, transforming densification, so they're building more places near public transit to create more livable cities and communities. And those things are starting to land, and they will just accelerate over the coming years.
On housing,
Okay, like, I don't think he really addressed her question. She said you need 3.5 million homes by the end of the decade. End of the decade is 2030. So start of 2030. So you have basically 7 years or 6 years, whatever, to do that.
He still have more time, probably.
Yeah, fair enough. But he said, or her number that she gave was, you have promised 30,000 homes, which is not even like 1%. Okay, and then he says, no, actually, we've higher than that. We promised 300,000 homes, which is not even 10%. It's like 9% of the 3.5 million. What? What? And somehow he thought that was like, he's like, haha, I one-upped you. But you're like way still off the 3.5 million that you need. And you let in like 1 million people last year.
Yeah.
Who are going to need homes. It just doesn't make sense. It's like boggling my mind. It's not all the responsibility of the federal government, but it's just like, I just feel like he gave a non-answer, and he's like, yeah, we got these other things happening, so yeah, we're going to fix it. But he didn't, I don't feel assured by anything he said.
one of the big issues has been whether there is enough for those who are being welcomed into Canada. In the most recent survey we saw, more people came into Canada in the last quarter than since 1957. And yet your government is also acknowledging that there's not enough housing. Do you think that you bear some responsibility for the housing crisis based on your policies?
Oh, we absolutely have to be part of solving for this, but let's be clear about the numbers we're seeing. Only about a quarter of those numbers are the federal permanent resident immigration numbers. 3/4 of those numbers are actually in 3 categories: asylum seekers who are arriving irregularly, international students, where there's been an amazing spike in that, a concerning spike in that, and temporary foreign workers as well that are needed for growing our economy, for working in our businesses. And on all 3 of those, we have specific plans on it. We're working with international partners on the asylum seekers. We're making sure that institutions across the country, as they get accredited by the provinces, are both legitimate institutions, because we've seen some fraud and some sketchy practices there, but are also able to house the international students that are coming, so we're not putting pressures on the communities. And around temporary workers, making sure that employees and employers have a role in ensuring housing. If they absolutely need to bring in foreign workers, they have to make sure that there's going to be housing for them as well.
I just want to go back to immigration.
That is all great things that he's mentioning in terms of like an employee needs to make sure that the employees have housing, just like a student needs to make sure they have somewhere to live. Asylum seekers still need somewhere to live. Like everybody needs somewhere to live. But even if we say employer, please make sure that your employees have somewhere to live when you bring them in. Like, Tim Hortons brings in a whole bunch of foreign workers, right? They are taking places that people who are living here now would otherwise rent.
Rent.
And it also increases the rental market in terms of prices because they're taking those spots, so there's less available. So the other places, the prices go up, so it affects everybody. So yeah, while it's good that they should make sure that they have a place for their people there, that are coming, you're still everybody else is being affected. So I feel like he didn't again really answer the question in any sort of positive way. And even if, like he said, he only has control over a quarter of the numbers, which is interesting because he's saying the ones that are coming as permanent residents. But he said that like a quarter is asylum seekers. I don't know why the federal government wouldn't have control over that, but whatever. Let's say the quarter is that people coming to be permanent residents. A quarter of 3.5 million is like over, what is it, 750,000, more than that, I guess. That'd be more. That's like 900,000, whatever. That's, he didn't even make homes for 900,000 people. He's making homes, 300,000 homes by the end of 2030, right?
Yep.
900,000 people in 1 year. You're gonna even if half of them needs homes, which is let's say 450.
Yep.
He didn't make enough homes in 10 years or 7 years or whatever until the end until 2030 to cover that. So it's just like you still didn't meet it, even if you took a quarter.
Because that is a federal responsibility. And you were clearly articulating when I looked at the interviews from you last year that you knew housing was a problem. Yet it took until the last month or so for you to act. So I go back to the question of, do you bear some responsibility here?
Well, of course, we all bear responsibility. This is a challenge that we have to work on all together. But from 2017 onwards, we put forward a national housing strategy that has been making sure and securing more homes on people. The spike in temporary arrivals over the past 2 years, a total upwards of 2 million people, need to be responded to, and that's why there are very specific challenges that we are addressing in partnership with municipalities and provinces, but also with international partners to make sure that we're managing that flow right. We need to continue to protect immigration. We need continued immigration in this country, but we have to protect the integrity of our system, and that's very much what we're working on.
All right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe
to our channel, and don't forget to hit bell notifications for future updates with our videos.
Oh, they should like and subscribe to our channel, not to just other people.
To our channel only, please.
Oh,
Just kidding.
I'm sorry, guys. It's to our channel only now.